1. Once again last night, I get sent a group of 13 that had separate checks. I don't think customers understand just how much pressure their large walk-in group puts on the restaurant, and how much it affects the customers that place their orders behind theirs. So here you go. It doesn't matter if you tell me separate checks as soon as you sit down. Your order is going in as a group order of 13 and getting split later. This ensures that the table receives their food at the same time. Even if I split them first and send them all at once, the order those 9 tickets print is the order the kitchen prepares your food. And it will be expoed 9 times. 13 orders that need to go out at pace take every inch of cooking space and now drop all other tables in the restaurant by a minimum of 12 minutes, if the food is easy. 12 minutes on top of the usual 12 is a long time to wait. It also takes 3 large trays and therefore 3 people to run your food out, taking those other 2 away from other customers. When your food arrives, please remember that I asked you multiple times during your order and during refills if there were any sides or dipping sauces, extra plate requests needed before your food arrived. I asked so that you would have everything as soon as the plate hit the table. Waiting until you get your food hurts both of us. Takes my time, you wait to eat. Also, please remember what you ordered. Servers sat with big groups will often get skipped on the seating rotation until the order is in. Your group is literally taking money out of their pocket. After splitting the tickets and tipping, please tip your server based on the work done. Servers hate large groups on multiple tickets because your tip is usually 40 to 60% of what a single check would have been. 13 people that all toss a 5 in the center and I'm satisfied. It's not the $100 plus I'd get on a single check, but it's better than the $42 I get due to a couple I don't tip and $2 no matter the bills. Oh, and the server taking your giant group is often outside of their section, taking you because management asked knowing they are the most capable and experienced. You are literally getting the best in the house. Treat them right. Oh, calling ahead to inform the restaurant of your group, even if it's only 30 minutes, makes a huge difference. 2. Samaya Restaurant is the fanciest place in town. We are the most expensive place in town, with the cheapest menu entrees starting at $18. The restaurant is locally owned by a couple that actively take part in the success and day-to-day of the restaurant. We specialize in food made from scratch and fresh seafood. We present wine professionally and use good decorum. I make great money where I work because of our generous patrons and our higher menu prices. An 18 to 20% tip is the normal, and it's a standard in our eyes for the service we provide. There was this couple that came in on a certain day of the week when we had special shellfish specials. They would come in, run us ragged, keep us from our other tables by talking our ears off, and order only our discounted shellfish specials. Among other things, they weren't our favorite table. The cherry on top was the tip they left every time was around 5 to 10% of their already discounted bill. We have a small staff and we are all extremely good at what we do. I know how to take my lumps when I've done a poor job, we all have those days, but that wasn't the case. Finally one day I had had enough of these guys. After they paid, I picked up their signed receipt. I noticed another 10% tip. Now, the husband that owns the restaurant told me once he received a poor tip after doing an excellent job waiting on a table years and years ago. He took it upon himself to ask the table if there was anything he could have done better or provided to them to make their experience better. They said no and asked why. He simply explained that the tip they left for him was a direct reflection of his service and it made him believe he did a poor job. This is exactly what I did with my cheap couple. I asked if I could have done anything better, or if they had any problems with my service. Could I have made their experience any better for the next time they came in? They said no, that I was great. Why? I told them the same thing, that their tip was a reflection of the service I provided, and made me believe I could have done more to make their evening top-notch. They scoffed and said that they always tip 10% no matter where they go. That was the end of that, and I just restated that I hoped they would tell me if I could have done anything better, and that I wanted them to have a great night. They laughed and the next day emailed my boss to complain about me. The wife backed me up and restated that their tip was a direct reflection of my service, and that it was a fair question. They finished the email by saying they never wanted me to wait on them again, thank God, because I didn't want to wait on them either. They gave the restaurant a 2-month hiatus, but returned again. The next time they came in, they left 20% for their server. Same with the time after that, and after that. Finally, one day it was just me and the bartender working. Owner was out of town and the bartender was managing that day. The couple walks through the door, sees me and almost walks out. I greet them like nothing ever happened, and since I was the only server on the floor, I waited on them. The whole time I treated them like every other patron, and didn't think about giving them bad service because I let bygones be bygones. They weren't difficult because I remembered them, I predicted their needs, and brought them early and in a timely fashion. Think tobacco, extra bread, cocktail forks, refills, butter. After their meal they paid and I got 20%. I thanked them for coming in and told them to come back soon. Moral of this story is that it didn't take much to educate people about modern tipping standards. I may have offended them in the moment, but I think after seeking validation from their friends and family, they were told that what they do is wrong. A point to note is that I'm very fortunate to work for a couple that takes pride in the restaurant and stands up for their employees. If you think you'll lose your job for speaking up, then don't take my advice. Or seek new employment. But all it took was to phrase the question in a way that made it about the customer and their experience. Not that they were cheap and I didn't like their tip, but that maybe their experience wasn't as great as I thought it was. I get cheap tippers sometimes, but don't confront them. It happens. I work in the restaurant industry. I only said it to this couple because they returned and nobody wanted to wait on them anymore. So it didn't matter if they came back or not. Sometimes my boss says after a rough table that they just weren't our customers, and to fire them as our customers. Sometimes you just need to do the hard thing and see how it goes. Thanks for listening this far. Have any of you done anything like that? 3. Halloween Day 2020. I'm working a double. Fuck me, dude. As a host. But at least I got to dress up. I decided to be a Pict. I put on my tunic, belt, some plaid pants, and my glorious green plaid cape. And finally, the pièce de résistance, the blue face paint which I put on in almost religious fashion. I was ready to kick ass. At work, I stood alongside my co-worker, them clad in a T-Rex costume, you know the one I'm talking about, and a fake Egbert's uniform. We're a sports bar, waiting for the Saturday lunch horde. Just kidding, it was Dad as an awkward Halloween party without booze. But there was one group that made me boil in anger. The earth rumbled as all 8 of them came in. Finally, the matriarch stomps forward. With each step I vibrate. A few glasses in the bar fell from the immense force. She bellows, "There's 8 of us!" I look at her and smile, but on the inside I'm dying because I know what's going to happen when they hear about our store rule. So I say chirpily, "Okay, unfortunately, due to COVID, we can't sit more than 6 at a table." "But everywhere else is allowed 10 together." "I'm sorry, ma'am, but it's corporate policy." Cue me and this lady repeating the top 2 quotes until I finally say, "Well, you're more than welcome to go somewhere else." She crosses her arms, scowls, and says, "Well, that was extremely rude," and walks back to her group, who are near the door. I sit there at the host stand as I watch them all congregate and discuss. Lady gave in, and they all end up sitting down. After they got their drinks, the madame complained to management that I and my reptilian co-worker were extraordinarily rude and disrespectful. All he had done was mention that we had no control over the COVID rule. Lady's husband, gives me a death stare every time I walk by them. They end up tipping Egbert's girl $3 on a huge tab, and personally hand it to her because they don't want anyone else stealing it. Please note, they were the only table and it was just me and the dinosaur server. So she essentially accused me and him of being thieves. Ended up getting off early enough to celebrate with my family, and that was the only issue that day. Everyone else was chill, and all my GM said about the situation was to reword what you said more nicely. 4. To those of you who may go out to eat in a restaurant this weekend, please be kind to the staff. Because in the 80s, I worked at the biggest Toys R Us in New York City. It was the year of the Cabbage Patch Doll frenzy. We had to call the police at 6 a.m. because customers in line outside waiting for the store to open were beating the shit out of each other. I worked at the service desk. As soon as the doors opened, the customers would rush the service desk like villagers with flaming torches, demanding the dolls, insisting we were hiding some in the basement. They yelled at us, cursed at us, grabbed us, and insisted we give them a Cabbage Patch doll. Working in a restaurant near a major mall during the holiday season is much, much worse. People are rude to restaurant employees at the best of times. When they've been fighting holiday crowds for hours and the blood sugar is low, they're complete assholes. And contrary to popular belief, the servers are not making tons of money. People tip worse during the holidays because they're overspending on everything else. If the server is short with you or they forget your extra lemons, it's most likely because they have 5 other tables, just as impatient as you are, all demanding more water, more ranch dressing, and more lemons. The customers' kids are dumping the sugar packets all over the floor. The busboys are out back smoking and the kitchen has been drunk since 6 a.m. Actually, the kitchen is still drunk from the night before. Someone has physically threatened the manager. An entire case of beer bottles was dropped in the back where the servers make your salads, desserts, drinks. And everyone is splashing through the beer and broken glass to get whatever it is that you need. They just ran out of split-piece soup because the owner was on the local news yesterday telling about how good it is. But he forgot to tell the managers so they could make extra and be ready for the increased demand. People who haven't eaten at this restaurant since last Christmas are bitching about the price because the Coke went up by 15 cents. When the staff finally finishes cleaning the restaurant 1.5 hours after they close, they'll catch 4 hours of sleep and come back to do it again the next day. Likely, everyone there is working a 10 to 15-hour shift, often with no break. Cut them some slack. Sincerely, Mexican Yenta, who is very glad not to be working in a restaurant this year. 5. Hey y'all, I got some good stories for you. I worked nights as a closing server at a small casual eatery. 1. The owner's kids' impersonators. Last week, 2 people told me they were the owner's kids. They were slurring their words the whole time like they were drunk or high. I went to get their order and they name-dropped the owners as well as a bunch of full names of people who used to work at the spot. Never heard of any of the workers' names they mentioned. I've only been there for a few months, so I gave them the benefit of the doubt. The lady said she used to work there too as a bartender. The thing is, they hadn't ordered anything and didn't for 30 minutes. Kept stopping by every 5 to 10 minutes asking if they had any questions. They kept saying they needed more time. I came over a few minutes later, again, and asked if they have any questions or are feeling hungry. The guy asks me what an egg is. An egg. So I tell him it's a fried egg. He asks where it's from. I almost said a chicken, but I didn't. Maybe this was some weird test, so I went to the back and looked up in the system where the eggs are from, didn't say. Ask the cooks on a busy Friday night with a full house in section. They laugh at me and say they don't know. The truck where we get all our food. I'd been looking for the manager, but he was busy buttering up some rich asshole private dining event for 40 minutes. You know how managers are. So I go back to the table and just say the eggs are from a local farm. I don't give a fuck. And he asks which one, and then the lady starts yelling at him in Russian. I speak a little bit, and I recognized, "You're being a fucking ass, are you still high?" Okay. Still no order 50 minutes in. Finally found a manager on duty at the host stand. I'm telling him about all this, and he's looking at me like I'm crazy. The couple gets up and leaves as I'm standing there halfway through the egg story. They walk right by us and I'm stuttering, "Hey, wait, is everything okay, guys? Oh, wait, don't leave." They look at me like a deer in the headlights and slam the front door. Manager looks at me like, "Oh shit." Ask him the next day about it, and he jokingly said the owners called in saying their kids came in, didn't order food for an hour, and had a terrible experience. He isn't a very funny person, so I took him seriously at first, but thankfully he was just kidding. Later the next night I'm telling the bartender about them, and she says they've tried that same shit before with her about a year ago. Maybe trying to get free food or something. So weird. 2. The puking nutmeg guy. So this actually was last night. Young pregnant couple come in. Asked me a fuck ton of questions. Whatevs, we're not busy so I'm not rushed. Answer all of the stupid ass questions they got. They couldn't figure out how the online menu works, so I use both their phones extensively. Where's the dietary information? Does this pizza have cheese on it? How many chips come on the nachos? What's your favorite beer? What makes a white pizza white? When's happy hour? When it says in huge font on the menus, on the phone menus, and on the host stand. Lady asks what a healthy option is. So I recommend salmon with roasted veggies. Tell her it's a lot of yummy, healthy veggies. I ask them if they have any allergies, because they were weird and weirdos are always weird about their weird allergies. But I get it. I'm allergic to chalk, special toothpaste, and alcohol. They say they don't have allergies. They want Rex on appetizers, so I tell them about the 2 popular ones. They complain that they don't sound healthy. Okay, so I Rex some cauliflower. No, sounds gross. They ask me about nachos, and I tell them it's really big and I eat those as a full meal sometimes. So they order the nachos and some salmon and a white pizza. Came back to check on them after their nachos come out, fast, only 5 minutes. The guy had chugged his pint of beer, asked for another before happy hour was over. I told him, "You got another hour, but okay, he wants it now." He looks at the menu and says, "Oh, peanut butter. I've had that one before, I get that." They also mention how big the pork nachos are. Say that it's already too much food and they didn't realize it was that big, and how it doesn't seem very healthy. Also, it's so big that we feel like we're wasting food by not eating it. But it won't keep well, so we feel like we're wasting money. Okay. It's not like I said eat it as a whole meal or recommended other apps like cauliflower, etc. So I bring this guy his next beer. He says he doesn't like it. The beer he'd had before, and also drank half of when he said he didn't like. Whatever, I get him another different beer. They order a mocktail as well, and tell me that it's too sweet. It's Sprite pineapple juice, and the name of it has sweet in it. Okay, I'll take that off the bill too, don't worry. Is the table too flat for you too, or are the napkins too soft? Do the chairs have too many legs? Their food comes out, and I reluctantly go do my 2-minute check. He says his pizza just isn't doing it for him. The toppings don't work. His cheese, bacon, and onion. He's eaten half of it. The lady says the salmon has too many veggies. Usually when she orders salmon, it's like a lot of salmon and some veggies, not the other way around. She asked for something healthy. It's getting busy as fuck now. I'm fucking pissed, so I say through gritty teeth, "Can I take these back and get you something else?" They say no. Huh? So I go get the manager, because I've seen this shit before. They're building up the pressure. Manager is AFK again. He's really good at hiding. Meanwhile, get a 6-top. While I'm greeting them, the guy interrupts me to ask where the bathroom is. I say it's right around and point to the door right behind him in clear sight that says, "Men." Come back to the couple's table again after looking for the manager again, to no avail. They say the guy just puked. "Oh no," I say, "are you okay?" Apparently he's allergic to nutmeg and somehow his pizza got cross-contaminated. This happened a few years ago, honey. Remember, you had to go to the ER. I'm some deep shit now. That's crazy because the pizzas are made on the other side of the kitchen than where any nutmeg could possibly be. We only use nutmeg for one entree that's pre-made days in advance. On the other side of the kitchen. Same with the nachos, by the way, but I don't think they remembered they had that. They were fixated on this cross-contamination thing. Anyway, grab the manager who had finally showed up and explains what's happening, has happened. He's like, "You should have come got me." Yeah, no shit. You shouldn't brown those rich private dining tables for 30 minutes in a closed room that I'm not supposed to interrupt during dinner service. Anyway, he goes over and they get their whole $75 meal for free. He also explains that cross-contamination was unlikely. He's comping the bill and he's like, "What's this beer on a second check?" I tell him the guy had it before but didn't like it this time. He says it's got nutmeg in it. Oh, really? I go, apologize to them and say goodbye. And when I told him the beer had nutmeg, they brushed it off. I asked if they're going to the doctor. They said maybe. They said I was great or whatever. They leave without paying for anything, and without tipping me. 10 minutes later, I'm bussing the table on patio, and the guy gets out of his car in the parking lot to hand me a crumpled $5 bill and a wet $1 bill. Thanks, fucker. Are you going to the ER or what? Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Spinning Plates, episode 159. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. If you enjoyed the video, then please do like and subscribe. Comments and shares are also appreciated. If you know someone who would enjoy it, then please do share it around. It's very helpful for me. Okay, let's see. This... Oh, wait, no. Before we go on, we do have a shout-out. There we go. The author of story number 1, that is Reddit user Saffron Butthole. Oh, my. Thank you very much, Saffron Butthole, for allowing us to use your story. And as I always, no, not always, as I often do on videos where the subject is tip heavy, let me just head off the people who are about to tell us that they don't ever tip. They hate tipping, yada yada, all that. Let me just head those comments off right now. When you order something online, or you go to a store and you order something big that has to be delivered, if you're lucky, they might deliver it for free. Cool, great deal. But more often than not, you're going to have to pay for your product, and then on top of that, pay an additional fee to get it delivered. That is exactly what's happening in a restaurant. When you pay your bill, you're paying for your food. On top of that, you're paying the delivery fee for your server to take your order, to keep an eye on you, to make you've got refills, to bring your food out to you. You could always say you're not willing to pay the delivery fee. Seems different when you don't call it a tip, doesn't it? Delivery fee. Maybe we should think of it that way. But if you don't pay it, you don't get delivery, because you're not willing to pay for that service. And I think that's very fair. Okay, I'm going to try and get this video up a little bit earlier, trying to get back on track getting the videos up on time. It does affect view numbers if I put them up too late. They still get views, just not as many as they should. So I'm trying to get back to that. Once that's done, I may have a little nap. Just an hour or so, because I'd actually slept properly. I'm just figuring, well, you know, it's the weekend. I should be lazy on the weekend, but can't. I've got work to do. Bad Hellfreezer. Get your work done on time. What was I saying? Oh yeah, once that's done, I think I'll stream tonight. There was another new Phasmophobia update out, the December update. Came out a little bit earlier. There's some Christmassy stuff and some new additional stuff in the game. Played it a little bit last night with some of the folks I usually play with. We'll see. We're still kind of feeling it out. It's meant to be easier to identify the ghosts. It seems harder. But we're just getting used to the new dynamic. So we'll play that later. And as always, if you have the game, you're welcome to pop into the Discord chat. I will give the Discord address out during stream anyway, for them as needed. And you just wait till there's a slot available. If there's a few people waiting, we generally swap people out. The only person that doesn't get swapped out is me, because that would make for a very boring stream if I just disappeared in the middle of it. There is also one person I did... Well, I was going to do a giveaway one week, but I just said, oh, basically, who wants the game? And I was going to put them into a random thing. There was one person that wanted the game, so I thought, okay, fine, you can have it. But I'm still waiting on them getting back to me so I can actually give them the copy of the game. I think that's it for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourself.